In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Dwarf Everbearing Mulberry. This tree is really not that popular, but there are a lot of misconceptions about this tree out there, and today I'm going to clear them all. So if you want to find out what they are, make sure to stick to the end. All right, guys, Dwarf Everbearing Mulberry. So what is it? Well, I got one in the ground, so let me go ahead and show you. So this tree right here is the Dwarf Everbearing Mulberry. This tree has been in the ground for about, I would say, 3 to 4 years. Now, I know it looks small, but I can tell you it would have been a lot bigger if my horses didn't keep eating it. This is in my horse area. You see, the horse is in jail right now because my mulberry trees are fruiting right now. And even if they were not fruiting, they just simply like eating the leaves and the branches. So this tree right here has been eaten to the ground almost twice in the past 3 to 4 years. And that's the main reason why I haven't featured this tree in the past, because, well, there was nothing to see. Now this year is fully loaded. So loaded that the branches are like sagging down from the weight of the fruit. This is actually the first year that I'm getting this much fruit out of this tree. And actually, after tasting the fruit, finally, for a few years in a row, and getting consistent fruits and flavor, I can now finally talk about this tree, and everything I'm about to tell you, it's the truth and nothing but the truth. So let's clear the misconception number one, and that is, a lot of people come to my nursery looking for a small mulberry tree. They hear the Dwarf Everbearing Mulberry is the way to go, and they think this tree is just gonna get about 6 feet tall. Just to give you an idea how tall 6 feet is, it's about this tall right here. No, there's not a single mulberry tree out there that's going to stay that height naturally, unless you heavily prune it. This tree right here, fully grown, as like I told you, this tree is not fully grown. It will get about 25 to 30 feet tall. Just to give you a perspective, it's gonna get all the way up here. Yep, that will be about 30 feet tall. And the trunk of this tree right here, as you can see right now, is really not that big. But fully grown, it's gonna get about easily 5 to 10 times the size of this trunk right here. So for those of you looking for a small mulberry tree to stick in the ground, and you see the Dwarf Everbearing Mulberry, well, this is not gonna be a full-size mulberry like the Pakistan mulberry or the green mulberry over there, but still, it's a big tree. Now let's go ahead and talk about the fruit. What is the deal about the fruit? Well, this is where the name comes from. The name comes from the fruit because they're so tiny. Yes. But the tree, compared to my other trees, will bear millions. I would say a lot more than the Shangri-La and the Pakistan and the green mulberry. Tons of fruits. What do the fruits taste like? This is the tricky part about it. And this is the reason why I didn't like this tree for the longest time. And this is the first year that I actually got sweet fruit out of it. And I figured out why they are sweet. Let me explain. So this is the front side of the tree. This side faces the sun all day long, non-stop. And one thing I've noticed, and I have customers that have stopped by in the past few weeks and actually witnessed this in person. So I have witnesses, if you don't believe me. Comment below if you tasted this tree on my property in the past few weeks and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this side of the tree, if you pick the fruits, they are sweet. They are amazing if you pick them fully ripe. And how can you tell when they're fully ripe? Well, they turn almost black, if not black. But anything that's facing the sun tastes really good. They taste very similar to the Shangri-La mulberry. And I can tell you, depending on the one that you pick, some of them even taste even sweeter. But this is only on the side that is facing the sun all day long. Look at the ground. It's completely littered with mulberries everywhere. But anyways, as soon as you get down here, my ash tree over here shades this area all day long. And I have a few branches that are growing in the shade over here. If you taste the fruits on the shady side of the tree, they are tart, completely different than the ones in full sun. And the taste of these fruits on this side is the main reason why most people don't buy this variety right here. Because during fruiting season, they taste my Pakistan mulberry, my Shangri-La, my green mulberry, and then they tasted this one here. And unless you like really sour, tart fruits, you're not gonna like this one right here. And this, it's only on the area that gets shaded all day long. All these fruits right here are tart. All the fruits over there are sweet. This is the same tree, yet two different flavors, depending on which side gets the most sun. This is the first year that I actually got sweet fruit, and the reason why is because, well, I've been putting up my horses, and so even though they ate the lower branches over here, a lot of the higher branches stay up there and they actually fruited. But yeah, as soon as I tasted it, I was amazed. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't feature this tree in my mulberry video a few weeks ago, simply because I had this bias that this tree just doesn't taste any good, and because I don't like tart stuff. But if you actually have your tree in full sun, I can tell you your fruits are gonna taste amazing. Amazing. They are so sweet, and the tree will give you tons of fruits. And one feature that I noticed about the Dwarf Everbearing mulberry is that it will actually start fruiting sooner than the other varieties, and the fruits will linger on the tree a little longer than the other varieties as well. Now, the name Everbearing comes from having several crops in a single year. I've noticed in my area, usually right after the summer and the fall, when the night temperatures start dropping quickly, this one over here will actually have a second crop. I don't know how it is in different parts of the United States or the parts of the world, but this one over here in my area will give you two crops. The main crop is going to be usually right now, end of April, beginning of May. And then the second one is going to be in the fall. Now the second one is not going to be as heavy, as plentiful as this one right here, but yet it's still going to be some fruits, and that's where the name comes from, Everbearing. Even though it doesn't really produce all year long, it produces early, they stay longer on the tree, and usually you get a second crop. So those are my thoughts about the Everbearing mulberry. So when people come to my nursery looking for a small mulberry tree, they always mention the Dwarf Everbearing mulberry, and I always laugh, especially if they bought their trees at other nurseries, because I know out there most people do not tell them the truth. This right here is going to be a full-size tree, and I laugh even harder when people tell me they put their trees right next to the wall because whoever sold them the tree told them that was fine. And what do I mean by that? This trunk right here, once fully grown, it's going to come up easily to here. So let's say you have a fence over here and you have a wall over here. What do you think is going to happen once this tree is about, 10, 15 years old? The girth of the trunk will easily push that wall. It will push that fence, and the only way to fix that is by chopping the tree down, just because you didn't have the right information at the beginning. Now this tree right here comes in two different types. The first one is going to be a tissue culture, and the second one is going to be cuttings. Now, I'll give you an example. This one right here was grown from tissue culture. So we actually got this tree tissue cultured many years ago, and we sold many of them. We kept several of them, and people really, this variety here is not that popular. So this is the reason why a lot of those leftover trees that I had, I just chopped them down and used them as rootstock, because people just simply do not buy this variety because I didn't have fruits for them to taste. And what I've noticed is if people don't know what they're buying, they're not going to buy it. If they actually are able to taste the fruit, they always buy the tree. Like anytime people come to my nursery and they eat the Pakistan, the Shangri-La, the green mulberry, and they like it, if I have the trees for sale, they'll buy it immediately. But this is the first year that I actually have the Everbearing. bearing tons of fruits like this. But yeah, it comes in two different categories. Tissue culture. I noticed with tissue culture trees, unless they're this big, usually it's gonna take about 2 years before you actually start getting fruits. And they even fruit it in containers compared to the Pakistan mulberries. If you haven't watched my video, go ahead and watch it and you will learn more about tissue culture trees. They behave just like if they were grown from seed, so it takes them longer to bear fruit. But for whatever reason, the Everbearing mulberry fruits sooner than other varieties grown from tissue culture. Now, the ones grown from cuttings, they will fruit the same year. So, but I've noticed you will not have this much fruit, like a half year, until your tree is fully rooted in the ground and your tree is fully grown. And once again, this tree would have been a lot bigger, but my horses ate it to the ground twice. So I'm gonna have to put a fence around this because I really like this tree now. And now that I actually have a fruiting tree, now I'm gonna have a video to prove it. I have witnesses that came over to my property. This size tastes sweet. That one tastes sour over there. So I'm gonna be propagating this tree from cuttings. It's very easy to propagate. So during the winter time, you're gonna be able to buy cuttings from this variety right here if you're interested. Or if I have trees for sale, you can just check my website. But other than that, guys, that is everything about the Dwarf Everbearing tree. Dwarf Everbearing mulberry tree. This tree right here takes full sun anywhere in the United States. And this one right here has taken 19-degree ambient temperatures. No issues at all. You should be able to grow this tree anywhere in the United States where your soil does not freeze. If your soil freezes in the winter, this tree is dead. But if you're able to keep that soil, the root ball of this tree from freezing, you should be able to grow it, no problem. The canopy may die back, but it will grow back every single year. But anyways, if you have any questions, as always, comment below. If you haven't liked the video, what are you waiting for? Click the like button. And as always, I will see you next time.